Well, good afternoon, everyone. Actually, it's good evening. So thank you all for showing up, and it's going to be a great book Bible study because that's what this book is about. We are talking about Mr. Beautiful. It is online, Amazon, and you can also DM me in my chat room if you like the book personally. Everybody hold their book up, please. Everybody hold their book up to let them know this is the book that we're reading, and it is exciting. I thank you all for just letting me be a part of this whole book club. Now, I'm going to feature somebody else, but this is my latest book, I'm just kind of plugging my own stuff right now. This is Love Sacrifice, and I did get a thank you, Lord. I got a review today. It's from Marjorie Crimson. It says, "Love the author's style of writing, well written and easy read, 2 hours at the most. Kept my attention and it was packed with interest, and the ending was unpredictable." What this book is truly is about forgiveness. And we're going to talk about that later on because I'm going to tell you, Z and I, we were at a book club today, and this lady just said to everybody, she says, "I never forgive. I never forgive." And Z said, "I just drew up." She said, "I just drew up." And I think everybody did because number one, when you are, or you claim to be, you're a Christian, then what did the Bible says? The Bible says, if you don't forgive, your Father in heaven won't forgive you. So that's really, I mean, that's like, wow, the number one thing. So forgiveness is the key to getting into heaven. That's one of the keys. The other book is Z's, and let's give her a hand. This is Z's granddaughter, 13 years old, and she created this cover of the Mom Bee and the Mystery of the Zucchini and Carrot Cookie Thief. So I'm so pleased, and I want everybody, I got orders already for her today too at the book club. So thank you all, and just keep supporting. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start. We're on chapter 8, and it is the title of chapter 8. And again, anybody can jump in, talk about what you think the book is relevant to, what your thoughts are, but it says a penny for your thoughts. And Penny is the little girl who is at this foster parent's home that she's been living in for quite some time. And she is paralyzed. And the story tells you how she becomes paralyzed. So we're going to talk about that. But in this particular chapter, and anybody can jump in, you know, Z and I, we talked about that too, because we were at a book club and we had another book that was similar to orphans, that they were talking about orphans. And we talked about children, and we don't know what children go through on a daily basis. We don't know how, if you're in that kind of environment, if it's either a foster home or an orphanage, they're not treated so well sometimes. And I just can't imagine anyone mistreating a child. That's just, I can't even fathom that, but they do. I don't know the mind of a person, it has to be wicked. That person has to have such a wicked mind. But then we also talked about going back to forgiveness. We don't know what that person has been through in their lives to turn out the way they have in order to treat somebody else that way. So again, hurting people hurt other people. Okay, no excuses. We're not looking for excuses. We're just kind of getting to the root of why people do what they do. Okay, so it says a penny for your thoughts. So let's start with, does anybody want to read? Let's start with the first chapter. It says suddenly. Now this is Lily. She's on her journey again, and then she goes into this another crisis because she keeps having these experiences, because God is putting her, just like he puts us through different things to strengthen us. We think that it's the worst thing ever when we're going through it, and why me? But if you think about it, I heard someone say it, It's not your friends that get you to your destiny. It's your enemies, because your enemies are the ones that will make you stronger and make you push through. And they do all kinds of things to you. But thank you for doing that, because if you hadn't, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have progressed. I wouldn't have said, you're not going to get me. You are not going to stop me from doing what I know God called me to do. That's perseverance. And if we have that in our hearts and our minds, and the enemy, whatever they throw at us, then if we continue and say, you know what, no matter what, I trust God, we're going to get to our destiny. And that's what we have to be. So does anybody want to start with chapter 8, verse 1? Okay.
Suddenly I heard a faint voice crying out for help. Then I saw a little girl's face and what seemed to be a vision I was having. I had to pull over on the side of the road. Did you see the dream maker? I asked with great urgency. I looked over at the passenger seat and Dream Maker had disappeared again. Not again, Dream Maker. Where are you? Okay, I get it. It's not about me, but it's about helping the child I am seeing in this vision. What's wrong with her? Dream Maker, can you hear her voice? There it is again. She keeps saying, help me. Wow, I can see her now. I can see her, Dream Maker. She's in a house strapped to a bed. Oh my, she looks so frail. She can't move. I think she is paralyzed because I see a wheelchair in the corner of the room where she is. Dream Maker, I hear her call for help, but she is not moving her mouth. How is that possible? She looks so frightened. I am frightened, she said to me. You can hear me, I asked with reluctance. Yes, my name is Penny. I live on Knee Jerk Lane and a black surrounded by black iron gates. There are vultures that sit on each side of the entrance gate. They watch day and night, making sure all strangers are kept out. Please come and get rescued. Please hurry because my wicked father is going to try to kill me tonight.
Okay, let's stop right there.
Okay.
Let's stop right there. Okay, you are going in and out a little bit, but that's good. Okay, so can you imagine stopping at this house on Knee Jerk Lane? Just because, again, we always have to picture the story. So can you imagine looking at a house like that? Would you really go in it? I mean, not saying, okay, I'm going to obey you, God, but if you saw that house and you listen to me now, because this is good. Okay. If you saw that house that was described and you heard someone in there crying out for help, would you go? Look at Kim's face. Oh my goodness. Would you go inside to see what the problem is? And we can be very honest. Come on, guys. I would be reluctant to go in. I really would, because I would, first of all,
I'll call the police.
Yeah, I would think that maybe somebody perhaps maybe trying to lure me in, you know, to do some diabolical thing or whatever. So my mind would be racing. So yeah, I probably would, like you said, call the police. So we just don't know what the situation is. But come on, y'all, be honest. Y'all looking like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want anybody to think I'm not compassionate. But you know, it is what it is. We're human. And again, I think I would be hesitant to go into that kind of house. So, all right, so let's go on. Let's go to page 73. So we're gonna continue. And oh, wait a minute, let me. Oh, okay, let's do this. I'm sorry. Zelda, can you please go to Please Come and Rescue Me and go down a little bit further because we want to know how she got in the situation she's in now.
What page?
72. Just continue.
Okay. Why do you think she is going to kill you? I asked her, not knowing if I was being set up, tested, or what. I'll try to explain as fast as I can before she comes in to give me a bath. You see, my mother died when I was born, so my dad raised me until I was 12 years old. My dad nicknamed me Beauty. He used to say I was the most beautiful girl in the world. One day, while driving to the store to get a dress for my birthday, a man ran a red light and had a head-on collision with our car. Dad was killed instantly, and I was in a coma for almost 2 When I woke up, my Aunt Mia was there beside my bed. She told me what happened to my dad and that she was going to take me home to live with her. The day I was released from the hospital, my aunt never came to pick me up. I waited all day. The next day, a rude social worker came to get me and took me to a foster home. She told me that my aunt changed her mind about taking me home with her. She said she didn't think she could take care of a crippled child. A day
Okay,
later,
let's stop right there.
okay.
Let's stop right there, Z. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
can you imagine being in an accident, losing your father, and then your relatives, your closest relative comes to tell you that they're going to pick you up, take you home, but then the next day they don't show up? Can you imagine that as a child? I can't even imagine that as an adult. If I am crippled, somebody would have to help take care of me, right? So if one of my family members said that, okay, you know, I'm gonna come and get you and you're gonna live with me, and they never show up, that's a devastating feeling. Can anybody kind of expound on that? Because I mean, I can't imagine. But you know, that's your own family. And she even said, I'm not taking care of a crippled child. So the thing about it is, did Penny at some point know that she was crippled before this person told her, or what? I mean, she probably couldn't move or whatever, but as a 12-year-old, you don't know why until this lady says she didn't want to take care of a cripple. I mean, you're shaking your heads. I need some dialogue, something, because I mean, and it's a sad story. Some of this is really a sad story, but it always comes out good in the end. It does. So what do you all think about that?
That was mighty trifling of the aunt and selfish.
Yeah.
I think it says a lot about the aunt, more about the aunt. And, you know, she should have never said that she was going to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, she knew when she left the hospital what condition the child was in. So the fact that she had the little girl get her hopes up, and then
nothing.
She gets a message that she doesn't want her or couldn't take care of a crippled child. I mean, she didn't ask for this, you know, to happen to her, and she should have never said anything.
Okay, now I have another spin on that too, because sometimes we speak before we go and ask permission for somebody else who's living in the house as well. So she may have been married. I didn't put it in the book, but I always kind of give scenarios. So let's say she was married, and because that is her child, her brother's child or sister's child, whichever one, she said, I'm going to take care of her. But maybe she got home and talked to her husband about it, and the husband said, no, we're not taking care of a crippled child. So she had to go back and tell the hospital, we can't do it. Only because not her, perhaps not her, but her husband. So we have to look at all, I just give scenarios, just, you know, just to throw them out there, but that may be the case. Sometimes that's the case where we want to do something that's noble and right and righteous, but the person or the people that are living with us who also have a say-so, because we're going to have to share that room or that space with them as well. Not only that, finances. You're going to have to share the finances. You know, you have to make provisions to put up a ramp, perhaps. I mean, it's a huge adjustment. And perhaps she spoke too soon out of her heart instead of thinking with her mind, this is not going to work. My husband said no. So, and that's unfortunate sometimes, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. So, and the sad part, like I said, she waited all day long. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, wow. Okay, so let's go to page. Does anybody, come on, because I don't want to dominate the whole conversation. Does anybody in this chapter, in this part of it, have a specific thing they want to talk about or read?
And then she could also have thought that the girl would have been an asset to her looking at it on another page, you
Okay.
know, before she realized that she was crippled, she may
Mhm.
have had a need for her to help out in her household, like a
Mhm.
babysitter
Like a
or,
babysitter or a maid, yeah. Yeah, somebody to take care of the home. That's good too, yeah. I mean, we don't know the motives of people. We would hope that they would be good motives, but you know, a lot of times they're just not. So, wow. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
Mhm.
Um, anyone else before we move on? Okay, so anybody else want to go to a day later, I got sick with a fever, and that's when she ended up in this other
I
foster.
read.
Okay.
A day later, I got really sick with a fever. I lapsed in a coma. When I woke up, I was no longer in the hospital. I was in a foster home. For 2 years, I stayed in that awful place, but I would rather be back there than here. The people who ran the organization called Children Without Hope were mean and uncaring. My foster mother must have taken parenting classes from them because she is as mean and wicked to me as they were. She came to get me when I turned 14. Her husband, Mr. Broadneck, does awful things to me when he comes into my bedroom at night, when he thinks Mrs. Broadneck is asleep. He smells bad too. His teeth are rotten, which makes his breath smell like horse dung in a
Okay,
hot
stop.
day. On a
Stop
hot
right
day.
there. Okay, we're gonna stop right there. Okay. So number one, okay, is that she woke up from a coma. All right. But listen to this. What's the name of the organization?
I know, I was children
Children
without hope.
Without Hope. This is Children Without Hope. Okay.
I mean, that was like, wow, wow.
And they,
Why
but
would
again,
anybody have sent any children there without hope?
well, we read a book today. I'm telling you, it was one of those. Okay. Now, and this is Children Without Hope. So again, the people that she was at the foster home for 2 years were mean and nasty, right? That's why it's called Children Without Hope. There's no hope, okay?
There's no hope for them there.
There's no hope. There's no hope, right? And then she gets transferred from there. She went from the frying pan to the fire.
Yeah, yep.
Then she went to the wicked, horrible Broadnecks, a husband and wife. And what does she say? Now, listen to this. Now, we hear this all the time, guys. I mean, I know I have in nursing homes. It's unfortunate because I know it happened. Honestly, it happened to my grandmother and my great grandmother, where she was not taken care of. I don't know about the rape part, but she wasn't taken care of properly in a nursing home. So those kind of homes, if your family is really not on it, they're liable to do anything. I used to go and visit my uncle. I call him Uncle Doc. Okay, he was here in North Carolina. He really wasn't my uncle, but I would just go and, take care of him. And I would see all kinds of things in there. And people were just left, just laying in the bed, nobody coming to talk to them. Some of them had bed sores. It was just horrible. And I just can't even imagine how you as a caretaker would allow that to happen to another human being. And not knowing though, this is the thing, they don't think that nothing's going to happen to them. They will do that and let somebody else be in a horrible condition, not knowing though that their day is coming. You know, people think, okay, I'm gonna turn a blind eye, I'll do whatever, or I'm not gonna say anything. But you are just as guilty as the person who is doing it because you know about it. So, but go back to Penny. Now, again, she went from bad to worse. And not only that, now Mr. Broadneck does awful things to me, okay, at night when Mrs. Broadneck is asleep. Well, y'all know Miss Broadneck is not asleep, okay?
No, she not asleep.
No, she's not asleep, okay? She's wide awake. She probably hears him when he get out the bed, okay?
Yep.
So she's not asleep, but again, women do that. Women will turn a blind eye to, and know that even their child, their own child is being molested, but they turn a blind eye to it and say, that's not, I don't want to know about it. It's like their secret. And that's unfortunate.
Mhm.
Come on, guys. I need some feedback because y'all are real quiet here. And I know this is a touchy subject. It is, but it's reality. It really is. It's reality. And so I know it's made up, and God knows, again, he gave me this story, but I do know that this goes on all the time. Every
Yeah.
single.
Yeah, matter of fact, I was looking at some stuff on YouTube.
Mhm,
Matter of fact, before I got on this Zoom meeting,
mhm.
and it was a man heard a woman in an abandoned house crying, help, help me, help me, help me. And he said he was just walking down the street and he heard somebody's hollering, help me, help me.
Mhm.
And he said it was an abandoned house that had been boarded up, and said that he didn't want to go in there. He said, because what if somebody's in there, besides her?
That's what I'm
Then,
saying. Yeah.
yes. And then
Wow.
he said he called the police. The police went in there, found out that the lady was upstairs in a room and she was chained to the bed,
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
and that she had been there for 4 days, and that she had been raped.
Oh, wow.
And and the man said he just happened to be walking down the street and he heard the noise because she was banging and saying, help me, help me. And that's how he
Wow.
heard. He said, but he called the police and said the neighborhood is all tore up about it now,
Mm.
because they can't find the man that had her in there.
In there, right? Wow. Well, we know that there is a justice beyond our justice.
Oh, yeah.
For that man. So, yeah. Wow. Okay, so now again, she talks about Mrs. Broadneck and Mr. Broadneck. Let's skip on down to how's Tristamatic. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to, I'm sorry. Can you skip down to if you wouldn't give me a reason? Miss Broadneck now is blaming her for Mr. Broadneck molesting her or actually raping her. So yeah.
If you wouldn't give him a reason to, she'd say, before stopping herself from saying what she knows is true. She refuses to call it by its name, rape, for fear that Mr. Broadneck might leave her. How twisted is her mind to believe I can provoke him to do those perverted things he does to me night after night? I can't move anywhere on my own. She has had to feed me all these years because I am paralyzed from the neck down. How could she say that I provoked him? What kind of woman would stand by and allow such things to take place in her home? Lily, please come rescue me, please. She is, oh no, here she comes. I can hear those big clunky shoes coming up the stairs. I'll pretend that I'm asleep. Maybe she'll go away. Please hurry, Lily, hurry. Dreammaker.
Mhm.
Dreammaker told me you would be the one to get me out of this terrible place. The day has come. Please don't wait until it's too late. My foster mother is planning to kill me and make it look like an accident. I'll be there to get you.
Go ahead. Stop. Go ahead with that.
I'll be there to get you, Penny. I promised her. I just have to find out how to get to your foster parents' house.
Okay. Wow. Well, so now we know how she got to the foster parents, and now that Lily, and let me just say this, it seems like a horrible situation, and God is there. I mean, Dreammaker is right there. You may not see him because remember he disappeared. That's to see what Lily is going to do. He's always there. He's always with Lily. But there's times when we can't feel him, when we can't see him, but he knows what we're going to do. We don't know what we're going to do in that situation. But God always knows. He's always knowing. But here's the thing that got me. When I was really writing it, and I said, how do you allow such a thing to happen? Because I ask God stuff like this. I'm like, this is a child, and how is it that this child is suffering like that? And again, my aunt Marilyn has this saying, and she would say, no matter what, because her child died, so just suddenly she died. And she said, we must accept what God allows. And sometimes that's a hard pill to accept what God allows, because he knows everything. And even if it's bad, he allowed it to happen. But go back to the scriptures, because we always have to go back to all things, not some things, but all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. There's a purpose, first of all, for Lily going through all of the stuff that she's going through, but there's a great outcome for Penny in the end. So we just have to look at it from both sides and say, Lord, no matter what, this is a horrible situation, but I trust you. I don't know how long it's going to take. And she was 2 years in that first Children Without Hope. And then she had to go to the Broadnecks. So we don't know how long God is going to allow us to stay in our situation. We just have to hope and have hope that we are going to someday come out of it and come out of it stronger, and not only come out of it, but to help somebody else. Because that's why we go through things too, so that we can help somebody else who is going through the same thing out of their situation. So, okay, so let's go to page 76. And let's see, transfer to the road. Okay. Does anybody tell me what your thoughts are right now? She's so frightened. Yeah. What your thoughts are, or what you want to talk about before we go on?
Well, I'll say one thing. When you was talking the nursing home and how they're being mistreated, then they don't know down the road whether they're going to be in a position like that. And it took me back to in the book when she refused to get Penny. She don't know down the road she might be paralyzed and need somebody to take care of her.
That's right.
And
That's
she
good.
didn't do, she didn't do what she's agreed to do for whatever reason. It'll come back on you.
Being a foster parent, because sometimes foster parents get money, get the child just to get the money.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yep.
and they don't take care of the child. They just want the
Nope.
money. So
Yep.
yeah,
Right.
that's unfortunate. Okay.
And then she wouldn't stand up and be a woman and protect that child. She tried to accuse the child for what happened to her. And that's not right.
But women, there are women that do that all the time. They
do.
choose the man over the child.
Yeah,
They literally do that. Yeah. How can you choose this strange man who you have brought into the home of your child, your female child, and you know that man is molesting her or raping her, and you just do nothing, but still stay in the same room, sleep in the same bed, still probably have sex with him? What craziness is that? That's insanity. I can't, I don't know. I don't know. Kim, the psychology part of this. Explain, please.
Well, from the mother point of view, or I'm gonna say the mother, it's like her mind is mentally messed up. She got some self-esteem issues. We don't know in the book how her husband treated her. Evidently, he probably called her names. There's no telling. Because I think somewhere, where she did say the daughter, where the little girl said that she knew about it or whatever the case, but she basically turned a blind ear and eye to what was going on. So I'm thinking mentally something else is going on in her mind. He mental something going on with him too. So something majorly is wrong with him. Well, for one, he is a pedophile, but
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
there's some other things that's going on with him as well.
Okay, so let me
But-
ask you this, Kim. Let me just ask you this. Why do you think a woman who knows that that husband or boyfriend is a pedophile will still want to stay with them?
I don't know, but I want to say denial or in denial about it, about the situation, want to think that that's not true, that it is not, they're not what everybody or what people think he or she is. So I think it's more of denial and not facing reality. They're not in touch with reality. They just overlooking it. But I just think they're not in touch with reality. They in denial about the whole situation
Mhm.
and
Okay.
not realizing that it says a lot about them as well.
Mhm. But not only that, then you wonder why, because I used to wonder until I kind of got stories on things, why when let's say that Miss Broadneck, as she gets older, let's say she's in her 80s or whatever, she's in a home, or perhaps she's still in that, well, no, in the story she's not in the house, but someone like her, and they are alone and they have several children. I think we talked about this. They have several children that don't even want to come and talk to them, won't even talk to them. And then you wonder why. But I've heard stories now of why these children want nothing to do with their parent, one or the other. Either they've raped them or molested them, or that kind of thing just messes with a child's psyche, but self-esteem and everything else. And they want to get as far away from that person as they can, as soon as they can. So when you hear about runaways or people who just leave home and never look back, we often wonder, how could you leave your home? How could you not talk to your parent? How could you? That's your mother.
Yeah.
We don't know what has gone on. But I keep going back to, no matter what, you may not want to associate with them, but you must forgive them. I'm telling you, you have to forgive. Find somehow, some way, because the Bible, God is not playing. He says, if you don't forgive, then I cannot and I won't forgive you. That's the part that a lot of Christians are not taught, or they think that it's okay to not forgive somebody or hold a grudge for the rest of their lives, and then stand in front of God and say, okay, Lord, I did this. I was on the choir and I sang in the choir, and I was a preacher, and he says, depart from me. I know you not, because I told you, you've done all of those things, which are great. But the main thing I said is, if you don't forgive, I'm not going to forgive you. So depart. I'm telling y'all, that scared me, because I have had some unforgiveness, but I understand fully I had to make sure to find a way to forgive, because I don't want to get to that point, and we don't know what tomorrow may bring. Tomorrow may bring death for anyone. And if you have not forgiven whomever have harmed you, God is saying, depart from me. And then that means what? You don't get to live with him, you go to hell. And see, people don't talk about that. That's a scary thing, y'all.
I
And
was gonna say
Mhm.
also for Mr. Broadneck, it probably happened to him.
Mm.
And also her, Mrs. Broadneck and Broadneck, but they probably think it's okay to do that or indulge in that type of behavior. She could think, oh, well, it's fine, it happened to me.
Yeah.
And it probably happened to him as well. So he, doing the same
Does
thing.
something, yeah.
So,
And that's a good point. That's a
mhm.
good point. That's a very, thank you, Kim, for saying that, because again, when you're molested, you're like, okay, you do this to somebody else, but you, like you say, you think it's right. You think it's okay, because you don't know, you've not seen any other, and you have not gotten help for
Mhm.
yourself. So
Yeah.
that's why I go back to counseling. It is so important to have someone to talk to, go to counseling. You know something's wrong. Something is dreadfully wrong. go to counseling and get it right.
And you know, some of them, I believe, know that it's not right, but it's kind of like a addiction. You want to stop it, but
Mhm.
you keep
But you
doing it.
can't.
Yeah.
What is that called? A spirit? That's a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
in the Christian world and spirit, that's what it is. It's a spirit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get delivered from that.
Yeah.
So that's where
Yeah.
deliverance comes in.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. This is good because like I said, we try to get to the root of why people do stuff. So like I was saying today, we look at people and we judge people on what we see or hear that they have done, which is so horrific, but we don't know where their lives have taken them on the journey to where they are now and how they treat other people. So and again, we're not making any excuses at all for them. We're just kind of dissecting what would perhaps have made them become the way they are now. So, and get to the root of the problem. And if you don't get to the root of the problem, you're not going to ever, I don't think you'll ever get delivered from that because you haven't rooted up what has been embedded and growing for years. And,
Yeah.
and each year it gets deeper and deeper. And like you said, you can't stop the addiction because it just keeps, you know, festering. And until you get help and deliverance, you know, we don't talk about that again, but that's where it will come from, deliverance. So
Mm.
yeah, that's good, y'all. That's really good. Let's go to,
Can I say something?
absolutely. Mhm.
You talk about forgiveness. Sometimes some things are hard to forgive,
Mhm.
but you know, you can pray about anything and you can tell God what your situation is, and Lord, I'm having trouble, you know, forgiving this person, and I need your help for, you know, forgiving him. I want to forgive him, or maybe I don't want to forgive him, but I know it's right to forgive him.
Mhm.
I need your help in this. I'm not there right now,
Right.
and Lord, I need your help. Because sometimes we will have to do that because some people are hard faith.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That is very true. Yeah. I mean, yeah, some things, but I look at this, the people who have really gone through some, we think we've gone through some really bad stuff. But just think about the people back in slavery time when they have really, oh my goodness, suffered. I'm not talking about just really, I'm talking about suffered night and day, night and
And
day. Yes. But I'm pretty sure some found it in their heart to forgive. And then you go back to God, that's a hard pill to swallow right there. I mean, really? But you know, God is sovereign and he allows what he allows to people who, you know, sometimes, like I said, that what is that saying? Why do good people, what is it? Why do bad people, good people, I forgot.
Bad things happen to good people.
Good people.
Yes, why do bad things happen to good
Happen to
people?
good people.
And you know, I've asked that question plenty of times. You know, we don't get the answers right, and we'll probably get them when we get to heaven or when we get before him. But sometimes we never get our answers. But again, we just have to say, okay, Lord, I don't understand this, but your word says, and you're not playing. If I don't forgive, then you won't forgive me. That means that I can't reign with you forever through eternity. That's a hard pill to swallow, guys. But like Z said, the only thing I think you can do, especially if somebody really has hurt you that badly, or somebody in your family, and you find it hard to forgive, let me ask y'all this. Doesn't it sometimes feel comfortable to sit in that unforgiveness rather than to go to that person and say, I
yeah.
forgive you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The comfortness is, I feel good right here. I'm not
Mhm.
budging. I'm not going to go to him. I'm not going to go to her. I'm not going to do it. I'm comfortable with my feelings. But that's the enemy because he wants you to be comfortable with disobeying God. So we have to always, and that's why we have groups like this. And that's why we have good friends to say, look, I know it's hard, it's difficult, but I'm going to tell you, it's not right.
Yeah.
And if you have those kind of friends, that's rare. Because a good true friend should be able to go to you and say, look, here's the deal. You know, I know it's hard, it sounds hard, but I'm telling you this because I love you. And I want you to make sure that you're right with not only me, but most of all with God. So if you're not that kind of friend, look, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if y'all not that kind of friend, I don't need y'all as friends. I'm gonna tell you right now, because I want somebody to be so honest with me, and I might not like it sometimes. Somebody say, okay, I don't know what she's talking about. But I know that I will always come back and say, you know what, you're right. You're right. If I know that you're right, I will come back and say, you know what, you're right. You're right. So that's what true friendship is. And I think as women, we should have more of that, because we don't. We'll look at somebody and go, oh, that's good. You good. Well, I'm just asking y'all right now, don't do that to me, because I'm not gonna do it to you. I'm not. Okay. And y'all know me, right? Y'all know I'm like, girl, that's not right. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not right. Okay. So let's go. We have gosh, this time is flying by, really. We have 15 minutes, guys. 15 minutes. So you want to go to Mama's Voice. Okay. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Go to page 83. This is where Mrs. Broadneck, this is the sad part. This is where Mrs. Broadneck is telling Penny while she's dying, because she's figuring, okay, I'm gonna watch Penny die. Okay, if whoever's reading the book, we're gonna skip forward, but she's literally watching Penny die, and she tells Penny, while you're dying, I'm gonna tell you why I became like I am. Okay, what happened to me, and because she used to be in a foster home. Remember, her foster parent took her home, took her in. So my thing is, if you're a foster parent and you know that you were in foster home at one point and how you were treated, how do you come out of that and still treat somebody wrong? Again, go back to, she was treated wrongly or badly in a foster home. And now this is what she does to Penny. So who wants to read top of 83, page 83? Okay, let me set it up though. Let me set it up though. Okay, so she's in this, she's being accused, not her, but her sister, her foster mother's sister has just gone into a coma. Mrs. Broadneck does something to the sister without knowing, not trying to hurt her. I'm not gonna tell the whole story, not trying to hurt her, but she does something by accident. And as a result, the sister now goes into a coma. So go ahead, Kim.
Mama paused for a moment, waiting for Aunt Bessie to give a sarcastic remark, which she was known for doing to almost everyone. When there was no response, Mama asked Bessie, "Are you all right?" When she didn't answer, Mama opened the bathroom door and saw her slumped over the side of the tub. She immediately dragged Bessie out of the tub and frankly called Aunt Merlou for help. I came running to, hold on, let me take my glasses off. I can't run into when I hear my mother yell, "Call the ambulance. Harry, something is wrong with Bessie. She won't wake up." I saw Mama pick up the box of bubble bath. Oh my Lord, this must have poured the entire box into the tub. If we don't get her to the hospital soon, she would die. Why would she do such a thing? Why? I could hear in Mama's voice that she was frightened. Then I became frightened. I didn't know what to do, so I started crying.
Okay, can you hold on right there, right there, hold right there. Okay, so this is the thing. She poured the whole entire box of bubble bath, which had sodium in it. She's allergic to sodium. Okay, And a lot of people don't know what they're allergic to, and their pressure goes up. So be careful. This is a warning. If you take a bath and you make sure that you read, especially if you have high blood pressure, make sure that you read what's in it. If it says anything about sodium, be careful not to soak in it, because it will absorb in your system and your pressure will go up and you will have a stroke. It depends on how long you stay in that, but that's what happened to her. Okay. But this is the thing that got me, I was like, okay, when you're little, and even now, when somebody becomes frightened, it's like you're looking at a situation and you're kind of calm for a minute, because you're looking at the same situation that the other person is looking at. And then the other person starts to panic and starts to scream and hollering. Don't you go into that kind of frightful mood as well? Because that person is hollering and screaming and they're scared, which makes you frightened. Has anybody been in that situation? Anybody?
Mhm.
Even as a
I think-
child? Okay, wait a
I-
minute. When your siblings, come on now, if something happened and you see one of your siblings crying and carrying on, and then you see it, you mean to tell me you have never started to holler and scream too? Okay, well, I have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. It has happened, but I have seen other people do it too. But it has happened, and sometimes you can walk into a situation and somebody just panicking. You don't even know and you could not even know what's going on.
But
And
you
you
panic,
panicking
right?
while they panicking.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Until
just
you
a
be like,
reaction. It's funny.
and then
It really
sometimes
is
it could
funny.
not be as bad as what they were like, oh, Lord, I'm walking acting like a fool, thinking it was something else. Like, but
Mhm,
then
mhm.
sometimes it could be something. But,
Yeah. You gonna say something, Cheryl?
Oh,
No, you good? Okay. All right, so go ahead on. I just wanted to ask you all about that part, because I know that I've been in that situation. Okay, keep going, Kim.
Aunt Merlu shouted at me because I guess I was making things worse. I didn't mean to. I just didn't know what to do with the emotions I was feeling. Shut up, you wimp brat, whining brat. Aunt Merlu yelled at me. We already have enough stress without you adding to the situation. Be quiet, she yelled again. I can't stop crying, even when the ambulance came and took Aunt Betsy to the hospital. Mama told Aunt Merlu to ride with Aunt Betsy because she couldn't calm me down. I remember sobbing so much that my chest began to hurt and I started hyperventilating. Mama took a bathcloth, wet it with cold water, and held it to my head. I finally calmed down. She put me in her car, then we drove to the hospital. I remember sitting in the middle of the back seat with my seatbelt buckled tightly. I'll never forget the look of terror on Mama's face, as I watched her through the rearview mirror. She had tears in her eyes. When she realized I was watching her, she quickly adjusted the mirror. A song came on the radio, one of Aunt Bessie's favorite songs she has seen in the tub. Mommy quickly turned to another station. Oddly enough, the same song was playing on that station. Frustrated with the choice of music being played and the driver of the car in front of us driving like Miss Daisy, Mama started pounding her fist on the steering wheel. Why would she do such a thing? She kept asking herself over and over. It seemed like it took a long time to get to the hospital. When we arrived, we quickly ran to the emergency waiting area. Aunt Mary Lou was pacing back and forth until she saw us. That's when she ran to my mother, threw her arms around her, and started crying. He said to Mama, the doctors don't think she's going to make it. She had a stroke and it looks pretty bad. The attendant doctor came out of this room. Hey, my name is Sarah. Sarah, what's it? Watkins.
Okay.
Watkins.
Watkins.
My mother said to the doctor, I'm Betsy's oldest sister. How is she? Hello, I'm Dr. Glass. He said to Mama as he extended his hand to shake hers. Well, she has suffered a massive stroke. I'm going to give her a heart attack. Your sister Marilu informed us of her reaction to sodium. Apparently, she poured an entire box of bubble bath into the tub knowing it contained sodium. Is that correct? In small doses, it would not harm her, but some people like your sister, their bodies are like sponges. In her case, she absorbed a dangerous amount through her skin. As a result, her pressure increased tremendously, causing the stroke. I must be honest with you both, with the both of you. If she survives, she would not be able to do for herself. Do you think she was trying to kill herself? Has she been depressed lately? Has anything happened recently that may have caused her to want to take her life? The doctor inquired, asking one question after the next. Absolutely not, Mama protested. Bessie is always the one who keeps us going when we are down. She has always been the one to see the bright side of things.
Okay, let's stop right there.
Okay.
So now we know that she's in the hospital. She's in critical condition. Now we're going to skip all the way to page 91. Okay, and let me see, let me just make sure. Yeah, we're going to skip to 91. Now, in between that, like I said, she's almost on her deathbed. There's a sister, Mary Lou, has been blamed. And we, like I said, if you want to read the book, read the book. But Mary Lou was blamed for trying to kill her sister, which we know, if you finish the book, it's not her. But let's go to 91. So after she's in the coma, this is what happens. 91, I'll read this all the way down to the bottom. Cheryl, do you want to read?
Where you starting at?
91, the last paragraph on 91.
Where Mama interrupted by Dr. Glass?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's
Miss
fine, yeah.
Wilkins. Miss Wilkins, he said to her as he looked away for a moment. I guess he was trying to compose himself. We did all we could for your sister. The stroke caused extensive damage to her brain and heart. She just wasn't strong enough to survive. I am truly sorry, he said. As he looked at Mama and Aunt Merlou, I'm really sorry, he said again as he turned and walked away. Aunt Merlou fell to her knees as she began to sob uncontrollably, calling Aunt Bessie's name over and over. Mama looked like she was in shock. She just stared into space. Then she seemed to snap out of it as tears began to stream down her face long enough to look over at Aunt Merlou and say, "Girl, I want you out of my house. When I get back home, your bags and all your belongings better be gone. I won't tell the police what you did because I'm going to leave that punishment to Jesus. But as for me, I don't even want to see your face again as long as I live." What are you saying, Sarah? I know you don't believe I killed Bessie. Please say that you believe me, please. Aunt Merlou pleaded. Like I said, Mama replied in a cold, deep voice as she stared at Aunt Merlou as if she was a stranger. Get your things out of my house and never come back. Do you hear me? Aunt Merlou was beside herself. Mama just walked away from her as she begged and pleaded to listen to her. She kept proclaiming her innocence. "Sarah, I didn't do it," she screamed and cried as she watched the only sister she had left turn her back and walk out of her life forever. They never saw one another again, not even when Aunt Merlou died. Mama didn't attend her funeral. She just couldn't forgive her for what she thought she had done to Aunt Bessie. Aunt Merlou would send letters to Mama or ask people to give her a message telling her that she loved her. Mama refused the letters or tore them up when she knew that they were from Aunt Merlou. She didn't want anyone telling her anything about her sister. She said to them, "If you're here to tell me something about Merlou, make sure you tell me that she's dead. Otherwise, I don't want to hear it." Is
Okay,
that
let's stop right
understood?
there. Let's stop right there. Y'all talking about some unforgiveness.
Yeah.
Wow. That right there is like, first of all, she did not fully know that her sister was the one who caused
it.
the death. but she just assumed that's who it was. And the sad part about that is that was her only sister. One sister had already died.
Mhm.
Now this one that is left, she just completely disowns her, doesn't want anything to do with her. But can you kind of figure out what kind of hard heart she has for her to even not even want to accept the letters, knowing that her sister is dying and reaching out to her, and she refused any part of her. Now but let me tell you, that's people, and we said that today, so-called Christians
Mhm.
who will be the same way.
Yep.
And they will justify it as saying, I have a right to not to forgive them for what they did to me. And they will stand until the day they die. So I'm going to finish it up, okay? Because we have 5 minutes, okay? So it says, she didn't want to tell anybody about her sister, okay? If you were here to tell me something about Mary Lou, make sure you tell them that she's dead. Otherwise, I don't want to hear about it. Is that understood? I heard our neighbors talking to one to another the day Aunt Mary Lou died. The neighbor said Aunt Mary Lou kept calling for Mama to come and see her. The neighbors told Mama that she was dead. She was on her deathbed asking for her. I'll never forget what Mama said as she looked at them as if she was in a trance. If she takes her last breath calling my name, it will be a waste of time and such a shame. Death has come to take its claim. No need to cry, no need to blame. What she did to Bessie, she is now receiving the same. Now that's wicked right there, y'all. That is so wicked. Oh my goodness. She really scared me and the neighbors too. They took off running when they heard Mama let out a wicked laugh that they had never heard before, nor do I ever want to hear it again. It scared me so badly that I ran in the basement and hid with my dog Buster. Even he was trembling with fear. It was like she had cast a spell on Aunt Mary Lou. It came out of hiding.
I came out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. I came out of hiding two hours later when Pastor Hines came by the house to tell Mama that she had passed away. Mama's response was, good. I hope she's in hell where she belongs. Visibly shocked by her reply, Pastor Hines said to Mama, surely you don't mean that, Sarah. Please don't say such a thing. You're upset. Mother abruptly interrupted him by putting her hand in front of his face and said, as sure as you are standing here in front of me, I meant every word. Now, if you will excuse me, I must cook dinner. If you insist on continuing this conversation, I will be forced to do something that I am sure you will regret. You understand what I'm saying to you, Pastor Hines? That's when the conversation stopped and Mama opened the door, gesturing for him to leave. But Sarah, Pastor Hines began to speak. Not another word, Pastor, not another word. Just go, she shouted.
Wow.
He picked up his coat and went out the door. He turned around and began telling her that he would pray for her. Before he could say another word, she slammed the door in his face.
Wow.
Folks said that Aunt Mary Lou died of a broken heart. That didn't matter to Mom. She held on to that bitter unforgiveness until she died, which was 2 years to the day of Aunt Mary Lou's death. I believe Mama died of bitterness. She allowed her hatred for Aunt Mary Lou to get so deep inside of her that I didn't even recognize her anymore. I let her go to her grave, not knowing the truth about what really happened that night, on May the 6th, or what was the 7th. Or I don't understand. It doesn't matter. Year after year, I watched Mama turn old and gray. She used to have the prettiest smile that would light up a room. Soon, I got used to seeing her depressed and lonely. She stopped going outside, and friends she had no longer came to visit her. The tragedy in all of this was the fact that it was my fault. I was the one who killed Aunt Bessie. Yep, it was me. Although it was an accident, I never told Mom what happened. I thought if I did, she would send me back to the foster home she rescued me from before she adopted me. Isn't that something? I swore that no matter what, I would never go back to that hellhole. I figured it was better to put the blame on Aunt Mary Lou than to face the possibility of going back to that wretched place. I
Wow.
thought
Maybe-
time would pass and eventually Mom would start talking to Aunt Mary Lou again. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Let's stop right there. Yep. So she blamed Aunt Mary Lou, and Aunt Mary Lou had nothing to do with it. And the only reason she did it because she thought she was going to be sent back to the foster home. Wow, that's crazy. But you know what? People have self-preservation. It's like, I'm going to preserve myself no matter what. I don't care what happens to you. I don't care what happens to you. I'm just going to make sure that I'm good. And sometimes people think that. And that's how she thought. That's what happened. So we're going to end on that note. Any comments on that before we leave?
Yeah, she was talking about her sister going to hell. Well, she's the one going to hell because she held on to that hatred and unforgiveness, and it was for the wrong person. And she would not just wouldn't see no other way. So
She was stone cold hard on that. Yeah.
that would set her up real good.
But also, you know, when she was saying that she watched her foster mother grow old and gray, and then she became a recluse. Bitterness and anger will make you do that. It will really make you do that. So yeah, we got it. Wow. Any other comments before we close out? This was so we're gonna stop at 97, and so next week we're gonna start at 97 and go forward. So thank you guys for
You
listening.
know, Monday, Monday.
Yeah, Monday's
Oh,
Memorial.
that's right. We don't have Monday. That's right. So next Monday we won't have it. So the Monday after, that's good. So actually, so then let's start with chapters. We'll just, what is it? 9, let's say 9, 10, and 11. Okay. We should be going through this quickly. All right, guys. Thank you so very much for this conversation. It's been good. And again, what was the theme this time? What was the
Forgiveness.
overall theme? What is it?
I don't know, forgiveness, unforgiveness.
That's what it is. Forgiveness. And please, I mean, and that's the thing is that even today, I'll say, Lord created me a clean, every morning, Lord created me a clean heart and renew the right spirit within me. We have to check ourselves every day. If there's any kind of unforgiveness, we may not know it, but there might be a residue. Check yourself so that we can be in good standing with Christ, with Jesus. So we stand before him. Well done, my good and faithful servant. Come on in, not depart from me. So, all right, guys, I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Take care.
Okay.